This week, we are going to talk about a sensitive but very important Camino topic. Underwear. Coming right up. So why is underwear such an important Camino topic? Well, let's just put it this way. Walking a few hundred kilometers is hard enough, and you can probably do without additional irritations, let's call them that. I'm going to be talking about underpants, underdacks, as we call them in Australia, and socks. I won't be talking about other female underwear, but I will say my wife Pat tends to wear just very lightweight sports bras that dry, synthetic, that dry very quickly. So I'm going to be talking about socks and underpants. And why are they important? Because the wrong combination of socks, the wrong type of socks, is going to make your feet uncomfortable and could contribute to getting blisters. The wrong type of underwear could lead to chafing, discomfort, having to wear damp underwear. So if it isn't something that you've considered, and if you haven't walked a Camino before, you're probably thinking, why on earth is Rob talking about underwear? If you've walked a Camino before, you'll know exactly why I'm talking about it. Now, as always, I'm just going to show you things that I've tried and that work for me. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that this is what you have to wear. It will just help you consider what you're taking, potentially what you might be buying. It'll give you some more things to think about, and hopefully those who've walked lots and lots of Caminos can contribute in the comments down below and tell us what you found out. So let's start with the underpants. First of all, and this goes for clothing generally, cotton is out. What is it? There's a saying, I think, amongst North American hikers, cotton kills. Why is that? Well, cotton takes a very long time to dry, apart from the fact that it's hard to clean and can get smelly over time. They're quite hard to dry out. If you're getting very sweaty when you're wearing cotton, it doesn't tend to wick. In other words, the moisture doesn't kind of evaporate off the fabric whilst you're wearing it, and so it stays damp. So you can imagine if you're wearing a cotton shirt, for example, you might be getting really sweaty and the shirt's all wet. It's going to get very cold on you. And if you're in a cold environment, it can lead to hypothermia and all sorts of things. Probably only important if you're walking a winter Camino, but that's why people say don't wear cotton on long distance hiking trips, because yeah, there are much better fabrics around that are going to be a lot more comfortable. Okay, so let's talk about underpants. I'm going to talk about shape for a start. So these look enormous, don't they? It's the lens, it's the lens. So there's a sort of a, what do you call them, a bikini brief, a brief type underpant. This is a merino one. I wouldn't wear these walking because I want to have a bit of a leg. And the reason for that is that it will help against chafing. So you can imagine you're walking for hours and hours on end, day after day, week after week. You know, at the top of your legs there, the thighs are going to be sort of running together, potentially against the fabric of your trousers, your shorts. And so I find if I've got some long underwear, it's going to really, I mean, I haven't had a chafing problem. It absolutely cuts it out. So I wouldn't wear sort of short leg stuff like this. I might take these along just for sleeping in or something like that. I'm not sure why I bought them. I think I bought them for sleeping in albergos or something. But I mean, they're very comfortable. They're from Icebreaker. They're merino, so nice and comfortable. Wicking. Merino is a great fabric because it wicks, so the moisture will evaporate from the fabric as you're wearing it. They dry pretty quickly, so I do like merino. I'm probably going to wear these. Is that the right way around? Yeah. So these are, again, from Icebreaker. They're a merino sort of shorts version of underpants. I find these quite comfortable. They have quite a long leg. So what do you call that? The inseam. So it would help with chafing at the upper thigh. I've been trialing these just around the local area, and they seem very comfortable. What I have worn on my past 3 Caminos are these from Under Armour. So you notice again they have quite a long inseam. They're not super long, you know, down to almost the knee. I think this is a 6-inch inseam. I find these really comfortable. I have not had a problem with them. So this style tends to work well. I'm not sure what the fabric is. Sorry, I should have looked that up. It's probably some sort of polyester. I mean, it's all, no, it doesn't say. I've cut some of the labels off. They're all synthetic fabrics, very lightweight, dries very, very quickly. You know, super light. These are great. You know, I would be wearing these again. Look, why would I try a merino? Dare I say it, I could wear them a couple of days without washing and they're not going to be as smelly maybe as these. But the main point is go for synthetic fabrics, unless it's merino, because merino wicks, and go for the long inseam. I've got another pair of these Under Armour which have the very short inseam. See what I mean? Now, the gentleman watching this will know, oops, that could be a problem with regard to comfort and things kind of not being held in place. Excuse my indelicacy. But the longer leg, the longer inseam mainly is there to avoid chafing. Now, for the ladies, my wife Pat also wears these. Again, I'm not pushing a particular brand, but she wears Under Armour. There is a ladies version as well, exactly the same style with the longer inseam. She finds them really, really comfortable. So that is underwear. How many do I carry? Look, if you've seen my packing videos, and I'll try and put a link down below, you'll know basically that I carry 2 of everything. I'm wearing one. I have a clean set, you know, to put on in the evening after a shower, whilst I wash the set that I've been wearing during the day. That evening set becomes the day set for the next day, and then the ones I've washed become the evening set when I get there. I hope that makes sense. So generally I carry 2 of everything, except for underpants and socks. I carry 3. And the reason for that is if for some reason I'm washing in the albergue and stuff isn't dry the next day or whatever, at least I've got a clean, dry pair. I don't really want to have to sort of wear damp underwear or damp socks, definitely not damp socks, because that could lead to blister problems. The other thing I'm going to point out, and this goes for underpants and socks, is I carry different types. Why is that? It's probably more important when I come to the socks, but I also do it for the underwear. So let's say I'm carrying 3 sets of underpants, and I've got 3 sets of these. If for some reason, and this is a bit like sort of repetitive strain injury, imagine you're walking hundreds of kilometers, you know, different parts of the body and anatomy are rubbing on your clothing and things in the same spot day in, day out. If there was some sort of discomfort and I'm carrying a different style, just swapping to a different style for a day or a few days will ease that. Absolutely it will. So I'll probably carry 2 of these and 1 of these, and I can kind of give my body a rest, if you like, or a change by wearing a slightly different style. But they're still lightweight, wicking, long inseam. They're just, you know, a different brand. They're a slightly different cut. That's probably the important thing. So it's not a bad idea to have a couple of alternatives. And, you know, after 300 Ks, you might find, oh, this is a bit of a niggle because there's a seam or something that's chafing. Well, you can wear those ones and keep these for the evening. So having an option, having 2 different types of things is always good. Let's come to the socks then, and it's going to be pretty much the same story with the socks. Now, I have got a video, again, I'll try to remember to link to it down below, on avoiding blisters. And, you know, your sock regime is a very important aspect of that. Again, I'm just sharing what I do. I'm not saying this is what you have to do. But in 3 Caminos and 2,000 kilometers of walking on Caminos, I have never had 1 blister. Other people will talk about 1,000-mile socks, which are like a double layer sock. I haven't tried those. I hear they're excellent. Other people will talk about, how do you pronounce it? Are they Imgini toe socks? People rave about those. I haven't tried them. I've tried a few different types of socks. I generally go for a double layer sock regime. What I use works, so I'm kind of a bit reluctant to try something else which might not work. So my inner sock is a synthetic wicking sock. These happen to be from Kathmandu. They're a polypropylene mix, so they're very light, almost like a sort of a business sock. And over the top of that, I put a thicker sock. So generally, I'll have this lightweight wicking inner sock, very important. Remember, there's no cotton or anything like that. Have I got them here? No, I didn't bring them in. I've also got a version of these by Icebreaker in merino. So I'll probably take 2 pairs of these because I know they work, and I'll be maybe taking a pair of the merinos just to see if they're different, if they're better, more comfortable. The other reason, of course, so I explained why I have 3, just in case one set doesn't dry overnight. Also with socks, I very often will change my socks during the day, so that's another reason to be carrying 3 sets. It's really nice, I find, halfway through the day to put on clean socks. It's really refreshing for your feet. The other reason I do it is to avoid blisters, because they do get damp. Remember, moisture, heat, friction causes blisters. So by changing the socks, I'm getting the feet dry again. It seems to have worked. So yeah, 3 sets of inners, 3 sets of outers. So these are a very thin synthetic sock, but they do wick very well. Just a useless tip here. See how I've got little bits of coloured wool on the top? That's so I know which are mine when I'm hanging them out with the albergue. Mine have yellow or blue on them, Pat's have pink on them. It also helps me sort of match up the pairs and things like that. I do that on the underwear as well. So those are the liner socks, just thin liner socks. Then the outer socks that I've been using to date have been these. These are getting a little bit old. They are a wool mix, again from Kathmandu. They're not a fancy style of sock at all. They're quite high. I think they're called an alpine trek sock or something. So they've got the little coloured wool on the top again. They don't last forever. You'll see this one's got a couple of holes in it. But I like them because they are thick. They're a wool sock, so they're a wool mix. They're very comfortable, nice cushioning because they're quite thick, and coupled with the inner sock, I won't explain the whole rationale behind it, but because you've got your inner sock over your foot and then the outer sock, it allows the outer and inner socks to move together like this. Without 2 layers of sock, your sock and your skin is moving, and that's causing the friction, which could create a blister. So by having the 2 layers, they move, and your skin is better protected. So there we go. That's a thick wool trekking sock. You might say, oh, that's a bit over the top if you're walking in the heat. To be honest, if my feet get a little bit hot, I'm not too worried. I'd rather have the comfort. So that's an outer sock. Again, like with the underpants, I take different versions. So this is a merino outer sock from Icebreaker, really comfortable. And this one is from Wigwam. And again, that's a blend. So these are really comfortable too. Probably more important than the underwear in terms of carrying different styles. So I'm not sure that I would carry 3 different types of outer sock. I might go with 2. Oh, who knows? I might go with 3. What I generally find, because I'll be carrying 3 anyway, they might as well be different ones, as long as they're all work well with me and are effective. The reason I like to carry different styles or brands of sock, although they're a similar purpose, they're thick wool mix socks, all of them, is because the way they're made is all slightly different. The seams are in different places. Some might be a little bit wider. And what I find is after a few hundred kilometers, if I'm wearing exactly the same socks every day, you could get a little bit of rubbing, you could get a little bit of pinching or something. All sorts of things can go on because of the structure of the sock. Just by changing to a different sock for a few days, you're giving your foot a rest. And any friction or tightness or anything like that is going to be in a different spot. So that's the reason for changing or taking a couple of different styles of sock. Sorry, I do tend to ramble on a bit when I'm talking about this stuff, but I thought it was worth sharing this week, just some thoughts, on, I suppose some of, I've just noticed these have a right and a left. So they're actually shaped for the right and left foot. I thought it was worth sharing some thoughts because, if you take the wrong fabric, if you take, a really short underpant rather than one that has a bit of a leg on it, I'd hate for you to be a week into a Camino or something and think, oh, I've got this chafing problem, and you're off to the pharmacy trying to find creams and powders, and it could have been avoided perhaps quite easily. So just some basic sort of principles to go through that have worked for me. I'm not saying it's gospel. So synthetic, generally wicking materials, long leg on the underwear. I mean, I'm saying synthetic. When it comes to socks, wool mix is really good because they do wick. They're very comfortable. They're nice and thick. For the inners, I'm either going with merinos or this polypropylene mix. So there we go. Just some thoughts on underwear. A touchy topic, but a very important topic. If you have any questions at all, feel free, as always, to ask down below in the comments. And maybe you've tried different things that work really well for you. But if you're going to recommend socks, tell me if you've had blisters with them. Because I'm kind of, I'm tempting fate, aren't I? I'm kind of proud of the fact that I've never had a blister on Camino and that my sock regime works. So, if you're going to say, 1,000-mile socks are great, tell us whether you got blisters or not. And if you have alternatives for underwear and things like that, let's share. We can all learn from that. So thanks for watching, and I hope this topic has helped you. See you next week.